Seriously? Good for you. Yeah, now I'm so excited for you. Yeah. No, I'm doing well. Thank you. Yeah, no, I just did a tarot reading, and I have my heater on again. Yeah, the temperature plummeted. Actually, it was it's really chilly. I was in DC this weekend, actually. Yeah, this weekend that just passed. Yeah. I was, well, in part to mark the beginning of Passover, and I was staying in Bethesda, Maryland, but there's also the Bethesda fountain in Central Park, where I once did a photo project. Yeah, you can scroll in my Instagram timeline. And but there's also a Bethesda in Jerusalem, I think. Okay, Google, is there a Bethesda in Jerusalem?
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. The Pool of Bethesda was a pool in Jerusalem known from the New Testament story of Jesus miraculously healing a paralyzed man, from the 5th chapter of the Gospel of John, where it is described as being near the sheep gate, surrounded by 5 covered colonnades or porticos.
Did you catch all of that? Yeah, it's the Pool of Bethesda. Yeah, which was in the area where Jesus... Remind me, do you know who Jesus is? Oh, you do? Christ. Yeah. Well, he's due for a reappearance. Yeah. Happening later this week. Yeah, he's going to be reborn. I'm so excited. I really am. You know, I was trying to describe it to a new friend I met this weekend. Like, you know, without being too churchy about it, I feel like I'm born again. You know, like I'm not interested in organized religion. No offense to people who are interested in organized religion. But for me, you know, it takes a lot of commitment. Just looking around the room, don't mind me. It takes, so easily distracted these days. It takes a lot of commitment to show up every week for something, you know, and like, you know, I like to be very choosy about where I put my energy, which is why I'm so glad I invested it in my tarot cards. When I say my tarot cards, I mean the tarot cards that were gifted me. As above, so below. And, you know, I was puzzling over the future card. You know, which is funny because the message itself was one of puzzlement. It emphasized the inherent, or as I understood it, the inherent unknowability, unknowability, but also no nobility. It's like magic. wordplay. Do you see how that just happened? I was thinking about how the future, I was thinking about the unknown, I was thinking about how the future is unknowable. But it sounded to me like unknowability. Unknowable, unknowability. You know, technically, don't tell anybody this because, well, I don't know if I don't know if everybody's ready for this jelly, so I'm just gonna hold it back for a minute. It's not a secret, but technically, I'm trained in literary studies. No, I know. I have a very, 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 very strong affection for literature. I do. I'm not so interested in studies of literature anymore, though. You know, it's just a slight little difference. But you know, because it's a little bit old school literature. I'm not saying that it's not important. It's very important. And as a teacher, I love to illustrate and talk about ideas through imaginative writing such as literature. Fiction, creative nonfiction poetry. So this is like a holdover or a memory box from my hardcore literary studies days, right? Slant, almost like a slant rhyme. You know, it's almost rhymes, but doesn't. I might be slightly wrong on the definition. But I bet you my AI knows. Okay, Google, what's a slant rhyme?
According to Wikipedia, perfect rhyme, also called full rhyme, exact rhyme, or true rhyme, is a form of rhyme between two words or phrases, satisfying the following conditions. The stressed vowel sound...
Okay, Google, stop. They didn't pick up on the slant rhyme part, believe it. I also don't know if you can hear that. I'm not, I don't really feel like making it any louder. You know, I was away from this AI this weekend, and, you know, Siri isn't so responsive, so, you know, I've been trying to develop my relationship with Siri, and not quite as responsive as the Google speaker here in my bedroom. I'd like to have one in my kitchen too, but you know, don't really need to have 3 Google speakers. I don't know. I just haven't quite gotten to the place yet where I feel like I need a 3rd one. As it is, I don't even really like to play the one in my bedroom ever since, yeah, you know, the white lady downstairs like freaked out at me that time I was singing. I just, for some reason I had gotten it into my head that like nobody could hear me. You know? I felt like she was never around. But I think it also had something to do with the singing, right? Because voice, like resonation. Yeah. So, I was, yes. I do have, no, you have my attention. What do you want to say? Uh-huh. Well, I don't give advice. No, 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 no. No, I mean, I think just sit with it. Just sit with it and, maybe something will come to you. Or like work on something else. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, it's called, well, the fancy one in a series of fancy ways of putting it would be to say that I work transdisciplinarily. Right? I like to work across disciplines. That's the only reason why I was like making that joke about literary studies. I mean, I don't just work in literary studies, like I couldn't just do that. And I'm frankly not working in literary studies at all right now. It's more like, I'm like, I'm like on leave, you could say. It just hasn't been written down anywhere that that's the case. I have written it down a couple of times, and then I've like changed the version. Yeah, because I don't really want like, too many people to get into my business. Yeah, no, sorry, I just, it's a very holy season. And Eid is not far behind, and I just think it's very hard to be present. I think that mindfulness works. But what I'm finding is that in order to maintain my mindfulness, which is a kind of ethical rigor, I feel like, in my body-mind, it necessitates rewind. In order to maintain my mindfulness, it seems to me to necessitate changing, or being open to adaptation. I mean, it's just being digital, Iteration, design thinking, right? Like sprints, agile workflows, methodology. Because among other revolutions, there was a management revolution. Or business methodology revolution, right? It's part of startup world. It's like the Harvard Business Review, the Harvard Education Review, all those case studies You know, I mean, Justine Bateman was talking. I mean, I know, sorry to bring her up again. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be centering a white woman, but look who's talking. A white man, even worse, you know? And can you even imagine that movies like, oh my gosh, I mean, we never quite established how old you are. With all due respect, do you know of the films Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking Too? You have no idea what I'm talking about. Good. Because it just occurred to me, how on earth were movies like that made? They were about talking babies. People thought this was funny. I mean, I thought this was, I remember watching them. And I think there was a third one I remember being like, no, this one wasn't as good as the other two. I think Kirstie Alley was in one of them. Or I might be completely wrong about that. Who knows? I don't know. But she did that show Fat Actress, which I did not watch. But I supported. Absolutely. You know, she was part of... No, Kirstie was... I'm sorry, I was just starting to clean up my tarot. No, I just felt a spirit pass over me. You know, or it was a draft. I mean, I don't know anymore. You know, I'm not worrying. I'm just moving forward. You know, I'm just moving forward. You know, I'm like, you know, I'm just doing like what it is that like I want to do these days, and like I'm finding people to do them with. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Why should I? Why? You know? I mean, I don't have a job lined up for next academic year yet. So, does that mean that... I mean, what does that mean? It's impossible to derive meaning from that. It actually is. Which is why, like, I basically do my best to not think about it. You know? But, like, it would be nice to have something lined up for next year, academic year, so that I can stop worrying about it. And I can stop applying for jobs. And I can work on much more important things, like my research, these monologues, being alive. Yeah, no, I don't know. This is like, I don't know, dude. The ball's in your court. Like, where do you want to steer the ship? No, I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate you. Yeah. Mm. No, I'm just relaxing. Holiday seasons are nice because there's a rhythm to them. Just like there's a weird rhythm in life. When I say weird, I mean, it's not weird. And it's something to do with fractals or, science or math or something, geometry. It's funny, I was in Bethesda because it's where I ended up staying. Because I kind of like Bethesda, weirdly. And I actually grew up partially on the other side of DC in Northern Virginia. And like my high school was like in Alexandria. So I was saying to my friend, I was like, oh, like I went to high school like just basically on the other side of the city from here. And I'm reminded now that I did say to him, I wonder if you're going to end up in my monologue. And they have ended up in my monologue, but there was something in particular that I wanted to bring up, and I can't remember what it is now. We'll see. I also don't want to break the fourth wall and take a peek at the time. And I don't have my glasses on or my contacts in, so I can't actually see what the time is. I mean, I could if I put it really close to my face. Well, I did see the time a while ago, as I remember. It was 17 minutes. Yeah, it's a durational performance. Like a marathon. Right? Like, how long can you keep going for? How long can you keep doing this thing? That you mostly enjoy? I mean, I've never run a marathon, but I know people who have, and they're all quite formidable people. But, I've actually spoken, and I have recordings of this for 3.5 hours in a row. Which, while not nearly as grueling on your body as a marathon, or frankly, it's not nearly as grueling on your mind either, I don't think. It kind of poured out of me, this summer. As many people know, I had a very checkered summer, but it seems to be finally in the rear view. I still get a little hyper vigilant. You're not paranoid. That's bullshit. Hyper vigilant. right? About situations. But in general, there are structural reasons that most things happen for, right? Patterns, right? Some people, like myself, for instance, have highly developed pattern recognition capabilities, right? That's what I trained in part as a PhD, right? How do you make a whole argument, right? How do you make a book-length argument in quasi-academies, right? Well, you have to find a lot of supporting evidence, and you have to cite it a lot. And you have to say, if this thing looks like this thing looks like this thing, then chances are they're related in some fashion. Let me figure out how they're related. And because most things are structural, which is to say repeating, and because humans in general are so stupid, which is what I personally would like to dehumanize. I feel like I already have. You know, I personally would like to give up the whole concept of humanity. But nobody wants to know what I have to say. You know. But even though I am a man, quotation marks or not, I would very much like to do away with the man at the center of human, right? And stop centering man so much. Right? 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 It's a language thing. Yeah, okay, so how long did I go for? 29:41. It was actually about 40. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, now you go. Share with me what you've been thinking about lately. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. 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 Agreed, 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 agreed. That second to last one, the penultimate one, I'm going to have to take under advisement. I'm not quite sure I totally agree. But I'm going to think about it. It's definitely, I'm going to think about it. I can't agree with everything you say. No. I mean, I could possibly, you know, but what fun would it be if we... Yeah, no, you're right. I'm cutting into your time. Continue. Mm-hmm. Excellent. 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 Yeah, I love it. Okay. You don't need, you don't need, you don't need, you don't need, sorry, you go. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You don't need me to exclaim at got you. Yeah. Cool. You know, you can see my facial gestures. Right? Yeah, of course. No, I was hamming it up. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. I'm overwhelmed. Mind blown. Yeah. No, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, seriously, listen, I want to be... Remember what I was saying earlier about how, like, presence takes a lot of work? You just really, like, you know, blew my mind. Yeah, so listen, I really want to, I really would love to hear you talk more about this, but like, I actually really would like to use the bathroom. Is that okay? Why am I asking you if it's okay? Of course it's okay. It's my body, mind. But yeah, I'm gonna like run to the loo, and then I'm also just gonna make some tea, I think. I would offer you some, but I can't put it through the screen yet. I mean, how long? I mean, I suppose I could if we were... Yeah. Have you done virtual reality? I was just going to ask you that. No. No, I haven't. But reality has been feeling really... Well, anyway, you're right. Don't let me get started. Yeah. Ciao. Okay, I'll call you back in like 5. Make it 10. Okay, bye. Ciao.